All right, let's dive into something pretty interesting today, huh? We're going to be looking at attraction. You know, those subtle signs and stuff? Specifically from a woman's perspective, kind of like cracking a code.
Yeah, it's like a secret language.
Right. But it's not just like, the obvious stuff. We're going deeper. We're talking about body language and all those little things we might not even realize we're noticing.
Yeah, exactly. The nonverbal cues. Like sometimes you just feel it, right? But we're going to break down exactly what it is you might be feeling.
I love it. Okay, so one of the things that stood out to me when I was doing research for this deep dive was something really simple. Head tilts. You ever notice that? Like someone's listening to you and their head's kind of cocked to the side?
Oh, all the time.
So like, what's that all about? I mean, is it just being a good listener?
I mean, yeah, it could be. But you got to think about it. When you tilt your head, you're exposing your neck, right? Which is a pretty vulnerable spot.
Oh, that's true. I never thought about it like that.
So it's like a subconscious signal, Like, hey, I trust you.
I feel safe with you.
Yeah, exactly. And that can be super attractive, especially when you're attracted to someone. Yeah.
Totally. So head tilts. Okay. What about eye contact? I mean, we all know eye contact is important, but is there like a special kind of eye contact when it comes to attraction?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Have you ever heard of catch and release?
Catch and release. Like fishing.
Kinda. It's this thing where someone, and this is especially common with women, they'll make eye contact with you, hold it for a second, and then quickly look away, especially if you catch them looking.
Ah, so it's like they're playing hard to get a little bit.
Well, maybe, or maybe they're just shy, or a little bit of both.
Yeah, I can see that. Makes you wonder what they're thinking, that's for sure.
Exactly. It builds a little mystery, a little intrigue, and it keeps you wanting more.
So we've got head tilts, eye contact.
Yeah.
What about smiles? How can you tell if a smile is like a genuine I'm into you smile or just a polite smile?
Good question. You gotta look at the whole face. A genuine smile, it reaches the eyes. You get those little crinkles at the corners,
Oh yeah, the crow's feet.
Yeah. And maybe even a little blush,
It's like their whole face lights up.
Exactly. It's hard to fake that.
Okay, so genuine smiles. Got it.
Now, what about fidgeting? I mean, some people are just fidgety, right? But could it also be a sign of attraction?
It totally could be. Think about it. When you're attracted to someone, you get a little nervous, right? Your heart rate goes up. Maybe your palms get a little sweaty.
Oh, yeah. Butterflies in the stomach.
Exactly. So fidgeting can be a way of like channeling that nervous energy.
So instead of seeing it as a bad thing, it could actually be a good sign.
Right. Like their body is betraying your feelings, even if they're trying to play it cool.
Oh, I love that. The body doesn't lie. Okay, so speaking of body language, one thing I always find interesting is proximity. Like how someone might always end up standing near you, even in a crowded room. Yeah, proximity is super interesting. It often happens subconsciously,
Yeah.
Like we naturally gravitate towards people we're attracted to.
So it's not even necessarily a conscious decision, but more like an instinct.
Yeah, totally. Like your body's just trying to get closer to them.
Okay, so we've got head tilts, eye contact, genuine smiles, fidgeting, proximity. Are you ready for a little bit more of a daring cue?
Oh, lay it on me. I'm ready.
What about lip biting? Have you ever noticed that?
Lip biting. Classic.
But why? Like, what's the signal there?
Well, think about it. It draws attention to the mouth, right?
Okay.
And the mouth is a pretty sensual part of the body.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it can be a subtle way of flirting. Like, hey, I'm thinking about kissing you.
It's like a little tease.
Exactly. It adds a little intrigue to the interaction.
Okay, and what about mirroring? Like, sometimes when I'm really connecting with someone, we'll start, like, mirroring each other's body language without even realizing it.
Mirroring is so cool. It's this unconscious way of building rapport, showing that you're on the same wavelength as the other person.
So if I cross my legs and then they cross their legs a few minutes later, that could be a sign that they're, like, subconsciously into me.
It could be, especially if it happens a lot throughout the conversation.
Wow, it's like our bodies are giving away all our secrets.
Right. It's like a whole secret language is unfolding right in front of us.
Okay, so we've covered head tilts, eye contact, smiles, fidgeting, proximity, lip biting, and mirroring. We've got a whole toolkit for decoding attraction now.
Yeah, we're like attraction detectives.
But of course, it's important to remember that context is key. Just because someone exhibits one or two of these signs doesn't necessarily mean they're head over heels for you. You gotta look at the big picture.
Absolutely. And it's not about trying to manipulate anyone or play games.
Right.
It's about understanding the subtle ways we communicate attraction and building deeper connections.
And speaking of connection, communication is a two-way street. Even if you're picking up on all the right signals, it's important to express your own interest, in a way that feels authentic and respectful, of course.
Yeah, totally. It's all about creating a dynamic where both people feel seen and heard. It's about connecting on a human level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, but believe it or not, we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore when it comes to the subtle signs of attraction, especially from a woman's perspective.
Oh yeah, we've only just begun.
So stay tuned, because in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to be uncovering even more fascinating insights into the unspoken language of attraction. We'll be back after a quick break.
It's amazing, right? All this stuff we do without even thinking about it.
I know, like our bodies are basically giving us away all the time.
Yeah, totally. But we've got so much more to talk about. So many other subtle signs of attraction.
Well, let's hear them. What else you got?
Okay, well, have you ever noticed how you kind of fix yourself up when you're talking to someone you like?
Oh, yeah. Like I'll smooth down my hair or check my lipstick or something, even if I just did it 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. It's called preening, and it's a classic sign of attraction, especially for women. It's like a way of making sure you look your best,
Yeah, like subconsciously trying to impress them.
Right. You want them to see you at your best.
It's funny how that works. Okay, so preening, that's a good one. What about touch? I know that can be a little tricky, but are there certain types of touch that are like flirty?
Oh, for sure. Touch is a super powerful way to communicate, especially when it comes to attraction. But you got to be careful, obviously.
Yeah, you don't want to make anyone uncomfortable.
Right. We're talking about those light, fleeting touches, like brushing against someone's arm or shoulder.
Yeah. I've definitely done that before.
It's a way of testing the waters, seeing if there's a spark.
And if they touch you back.
Oh, that's a good sign. Means the attraction is probably mutual.
Okay, so preening, light touches. What about overall body language? Are there certain ways people position themselves that can be flirty?
Definitely. One of the biggest things to look for is open body language. Like if someone's facing you directly with their arms uncrossed, it means they're feeling comfortable and engaged.
So like the opposite of having your arms crossed and looking away, which usually means you're not interested.
Exactly. Open body language is like an invitation to connect. And then there are those extra flirty postures, like arching your back a little bit.
Arching your back. I don't know if I do that.
You might not even realize it. It's just a subtle way of accentuating your, curves.
So it's like a way of showing off a little?
Maybe. Or maybe it's just a subconscious way of feeling more confident. And then there's the lean in, that classic move.
Oh, yeah, when they get all close to you while you're talking.
Yes. It shows
Yeah.
they're interested in what you're saying and want to be closer to you.
It's like they're trying to bridge the gap,
Totally. So you got open body language, the arch, the lean in, and what about laughter?
Laughter. Oh, I love a good laugh.
Me too. It's such a powerful sign of connection. When someone laughs at your jokes, even if they're bad, it means they're enjoying your company.
Yeah, you got to be able to laugh together, right?
Yeah.
Makes things more fun.
Exactly. It creates a sense of warmth and playfulness, which can definitely be attractive.
Okay, so far we've been talking a lot about body language. But are there, any physical reactions that can give away attraction? Things you can't even control?
Oh, tons. Like blushing, when someone's cheeks turn pink.
Yeah, like when they get flustered or embarrassed.
Right, but it can also happen when you're attracted to someone. It's a totally involuntary response,
So if I'm making someone blush, it might be a good sign.
It could be, especially if it happens along with other things like nervous laughter or fidgeting.
Okay, interesting. So blushing, that's one. What else?
Well, you know how your breathing changes when you get nervous or excited?
Yeah, like it gets faster.
Right. Well, that can happen when you're attracted to someone too.
So like they're trying to catch their breath a little bit?
Kind of. It's just their body reacting to those feelings of attraction.
Wow. It's crazy how much our bodies can reveal about us, even when we're trying to hide it.
I know, right? It's like a whole secret language.
Mm-hmm.
But there are even more subtle signs we can look for. Like, have you ever heard of pupil dilation?
Pupil dilation, isn't that when your pupils get bigger? Like in the dark?
Yeah, exactly. But did you know your pupils also dilate when you look at something you find attractive?
Really?
Yeah.
No way. I had no idea.
It's true. It's this unconscious response controlled by your nervous system.
So I can't just make my pupils dilate on purpose.
Nope. It just happens automatically, which is why it's considered such a strong indicator of attraction. Like, if someone's pupils are dilated while they're looking at you, it means they're definitely into you.
Okay, so dilated pupils. Got it.
Yeah.
What else?
Another subtle sign is increased blinking.
Blinking. Really?
Yeah, when you're attracted to someone, you might blink more often. It's like you're trying to take in every detail of their appearance. Oh, that's kind of cute.
Right. It's like their eyes are saying, wow, you look amazing.
Okay, so dilated pupils, increased blinking. This next one might sound a little strange, but what about flared nostrils?
You know, that actually makes sense. Flared nostrils can be a sign of, like, arousal or excitement.
So, like, if someone's nostrils are flaring while they're talking to me, it could mean they're feeling a spark.
It's definitely possible, especially if it's combined with some of those other signs we've been talking about.
Right, right. So we're talking about a whole combination of things.
Exactly. Context is everything.
Okay, so let's see. We've got dilated pupils, increased blinking, flared nostrils. It really is like a whole secret language is unfolding right in front of us.
Totally. And the more aware we become of these subtle signs, the better we'll be at reading people.
Speaking of reading people, we were talking about mirroring before the break. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. Mirroring is when we unconsciously copy someone else's body language, like their gestures, or even how they talk. So if someone's like subtly copying me, it could mean they like me.
It could. It's a way of showing that you're on the same wavelength, building that connection.
That's so cool. I'll have to start paying attention to that.
You should. It's pretty amazing how it works. And what about touching their neck or lips while they're talking to you? Have you ever noticed that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I see it. People do that. It's kind of flirty, right?
Totally. The neck and lips are super sensitive areas.
Yeah, true.
So when someone touches them, it can be a way of like drawing attention to those areas and kind of highlighting their own attractiveness.
Subtle, but effective.
Exactly. And how about changes in their voice?
Oh yeah, I've noticed that too. Like their voice might get a little softer, maybe even a little deeper.
Exactly. Or they might speak more slowly, like they're really trying to savor every word they say to you.
It's like they're trying to create a more intimate atmosphere.
Exactly. They want to capture your attention.
This is incredible. I mean, it really is like a whole symphony of nonverbal cues.
It really is. And the more we understand them, the better we can navigate the world of attraction.
Okay, so where do we go from here? We've covered so much, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
You're right, there's always more to learn. But I think the biggest takeaway is that we're all sending these signals all the time, whether we realize it or not.
So the key is to be more mindful, both of our own body language and the cues we're picking up from other people.
Exactly. It's all about paying attention and becoming more aware.
And obviously, everyone is different. There's no one-size-fits-all formula when it comes to attraction.
Absolutely. It's about being observant and open to the possibilities. And remember, attraction is just the first step. Building a genuine connection, that's where the real magic happens. It really is fascinating how these tiny little cues can tell you so much.
I know, right?
Right?
It's like we've been given this decoder ring for understanding attraction.
And it's not just about like reading other people, it's also about being aware of our own signals, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Like you could be sending all the right signals, but if you don't have confidence, it's not going to work.
100%. Confidence is huge. Like even if you can spot all the signs, if you don't have the confidence to actually do something about it, what's the point, right?
Totally, you got to own it.
Exactly. Confidence is just naturally attractive. It shows that you value yourself and you're comfortable in your own skin.
And that can be really magnetic.
Totally.
So, to wrap things up, we've talked about all these subtle signs of attraction, but it's not about like trying to trick anyone or anything like that.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's about being more aware, more mindful.
Yeah, exactly. It's about understanding those little nuances that make human connections so fascinating.
So, one last question for our listeners, and I want you to really think about this. Now that you know all about these signs, what's one that you're going to start paying more attention to?
That's a good question. I mean, there's so many to choose from, right?
Right. I mean, is it going to be the way someone's voice changes when they talk to you? Or maybe it's the way they subtly mirror your movements?
Ooh, good ones. Or maybe it's those little lingering glances, those moments of eye contact that hold just a fraction of a second longer than usual.
Exactly. It's about those tiny details. The point is to just be more aware and see what you discover. You might be surprised by what you find.
It's like a whole new world opening up, you know?
I love that. And remember, attraction is just the beginning. The real magic happens when you can build a genuine connection with someone.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure exploring the fascinating world of attraction with you. Until next time, stay curious, keep those eyes peeled, and most importantly, have fun connecting with the amazing people around you.